Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Spoop as we continue to talk about the Omen movies. This is Omen Tree, The Final Conflict. Once again, we're not going to break this down the normal way I break down movies. I'm not going to grade everything. I'm not going to tell you how I feel about it. I'm not going to give you like that blow by blow on the opening 20-ish minutes of the movie because again, the Omen movies are very plot driven. So I have to just describe the whole movie to you. I can't do it the way I normally do. So again, once I have done all five Omen movies, the four originals plus the remake of the original, I will do a tier video at the very end and tell you which one's the best, which one's the worst, which ones I don't like, and we'll go from there. So this is Omen 3, which again I watched on the Cinemax channel on Amazon Prime because that is the only way to currently stream them. So let's just go ahead and start with the first thing, the most important thing, and that is that Damien is played by Sam Neill. I love Sam Neill. Anybody who knows me knows that if I see Sam Neill's name attached to something, if I see his beautiful face, I have to watch it because I love Sam Neill. He's one of my favorite horror movie actors. He's in two of my favorite horror movies of all time, In the Mouth of Madness and Event Horizon, which are phenomenal horror films, very different horror films, but phenomenal horror films. And he's in both of them because he is such a great actor. And I love him. And he did a phenomenal job as Damien. So, what happens in Omen Tree? So, he's now, Damien is now the head of Thorn Enterprises. And he's got his thumb in literally everything. He's rich beyond description. He's besties with El Presidente, the president, and he's using that leverage, that pull, to get him to where he needs to be, which is apparently England. So he reads a random passage out of the Bible. I don't know which one, but he reads this passage out of the Bible and he explains it to one of his apostles that what this passage means is that the rebirth of Jesus is going to happen in England. So he needs to go to England so that he can fight him, kill him, and win. And he repeatedly refers to him as the Nazarene, which is like a interesting narrative choice, but it's not inaccurate. So he uses his powers to cause the current American ambassador to Great Britain to commit unaliving in a very dramatic manner. He sets up a shotgun with a rope or string or tape or something tied to the trigger that he then routes to the handle on the door to his office. And then he calls his press secretary and says, I want a press meeting in my office at 3 o'clock. So a bunch of people come up to his office for the press meeting. They open the door and the shotgun goes off, and it is dramatic, which then results in Damien becoming the new ambassador to Great Britain, as well as the president of the United Nations Youth Council. Why would he want to do that? Because he wants to control the children. Duh. So he throws a party in England. He meets this reporter lady, agrees to do an interview with her talking about him. At the same time, the knives that are the only thing that can kill Damien have been found and been auctioned and have arrived in a monastery in Italy. And a group of 7 priests, each one gets one knife, and they make a vow to stop him. And then at the same time, a bunch of celestial things are happening. They do this cool, interesting thing where they kind of try to meld science and religion together. And they now know the date and the location where Jesus is going to be reborn into a baby. And again, it's England. So Damien does the interview. While he's doing the interview, a priest tries to kill him and dies horribly. And then this happens repeatedly throughout the movie. Lots of priests die. Um, he goes to bed, and while he's sleeping, there's a bright light in the sky. It wakes him up, and he realizes Jesus has been born. And he tells his apostle that the longer the Jesus is reborn, the more his power will wane because Jesus is sucking it out of him. At the same time, there's this kind of side plot going on with the reporter's son becoming an apostle, Damien, and eventually he comes to the realization the only way that he can stop uh, the Nazarene from having to fight him and defeat him is that he has to kill him as a baby and he has to kill him right now. So he sends all of his apostles out to kill any baby that was born between like midnight and I think it's 5 a.m. on that specific day. And then we get a lot of baby death, and it is dark, including his apostles' own son. He uses the dog that repeatedly shows up throughout all of the movies to cause the apostle's wife to kill their baby and then kill the apostle because he refused to kill the baby. And so then he's like, boom, all of them are gone. There's no way I can be defeated now. I am the champion. Then the leader of the priests talks to the reporter lady who has a crush on Damien and explains to her that he is the Antichrist. You don't want none of that, lady. But she's like, yeah, I do. And she bangs him, which is a weird scene because I haven't watched the fourth one yet, but I know that the fourth one is about his child. But the way that that scene plays out, it definitely implies that there was butt sex and not actual sex. But I guess that if anybody could cause a butt baby, it would be the Antichrist. So whatever. So the priest, or after they do the deed, um, she looks at his hair while he's asleep because the priest told her that the birthmark, the 666, which I didn't mention before, but that's the sign. I didn't mention in the other two videos, but that's how we know, or how whomever figures out that he is the Antichrist that doesn't believe that he's the Antichrist is because he has the birthmark under his hair that is the sixes. Which, if you look at the picture, if you look at the picture of the poster, you see the 666 right next to his head. That is the birthmark that's on all of the movies, and it's the sign, right? So she sees this, she's like, "Oh my God, he is the Antichrist," and "Oh my God, I slept with the Antichrist." So she goes back to the priest. The priest explains to her that like, "Hey, your son is being mind controlled by him. We got to get to him." And she's like, "I don't believe you," but then it turns out to be true. So she tricks Damien, or talks to Damien, tells him that she knows where the Nazarene is, and if he will unmind control her son, she'll take him to him. So he agrees. They get there. Priest tries to ambush him. He fails to do so. He's like, "I have won. You have nobody left to defend you. I will kill you myself." And then, whilst he is boasting, the reporter stabs him in the back with the killer, Antichrist killer dagger, and he dies. And then Jesus is reborn, and we get some more Bible verses that come across the screen. That's the movie. So, my thoughts. It's Sam Neill. I love Sam Neill. Of the three movies, this one is more interesting than I would say the second one, but it doesn't, neither two or three really encapsulate the creepiness that was in the original. And I think that's because the original was about a kid, and creepy kids are creepy. Like, it is what it is. The music was really good. My wife commented on how good the music was whilst we were watching it. The atmosphere was good. I paid attention. I was really into it. If I had to give it a score, I would have to give it probably about a three, 3.5 out of 5 overall. But yeah, that's Omen Tree. If you have any questions, you have any comments, you would like to talk about your thoughts on Omen 3, please put them in the comments section. But remember, keep it simple. Okay, thanks. Bye.